What seemed like a typical hot afternoon in southern Nevada quickly turned into a scene of chaos within minutes. An extremely violent windstorm formed without warning and struck the city of Las Vegas with a level of intensity rarely seen. The sky turned orange, the lights vanished, and the desert seemed to swallow up Sin City. The storm was as unexpected as it was destructive. The National Weather Service issued its first alerts at 3:30 p.m., warning of possible severe thunderstorms. However, what was coming was far more complex. It was a dry microburst, a rare but devastating phenomenon where cold, dry air rapidly descends and, upon hitting the ground, spreads outward violently in all directions. These gusts reach speeds of up to 70 miles per hour, 112 kilometers per hour, in parts of Clark County. In areas like Henderson and the southern end of the valley, the winds uprooted trees, tore off rooftops, bent power poles, and created walls of dust that reduced visibility to just a few feet. The normally vibrant streets of the Las Vegas Strip were deserted. The iconic glow of neon signs disappeared into a thick brown haze as visitors ran for shelter in hotels or vehicles. The desert had taken over everything. Videos recorded by residents and tourists showed dramatic scenes. Palm trees completely bent, street signs shaking, people covering their faces with whatever they could, and a thick wall of dust engulfing everything in its path. Some recorded from parking lots, others from planes that couldn't take off. The fear in their voices was unmistakable. Harry Reid International Airport was also affected. A recording from inside a plane showed dust swirling around the fuselage as the aircraft shook from crosswinds. Flights were delayed for up to 75 minutes, turning the airport into a place of uncertainty. On the ground, the situation deteriorated quickly. NV Energy, the largest power company in the state, reported more than 33,000 customers without power within an hour. Over 270 outages were recorded across Clark County. In some areas, light poles simply collapsed into the streets, blocking access and creating additional hazards. Entire neighborhoods were plunged into darkness, especially in the northern and western areas of Las Vegas. Stunned residents walked outside with flashlights to assess the damage. Fallen trees on rooftops, crushed vehicles, torn off roofs, and transformers sparking in the darkness painted a dire picture. Metro Police and Clark County firefighters were overwhelmed by the volume of emergency calls. Reports of fires, live electrical wires, blocked roads, and trapped people flooded emergency centers. The city was collapsing under the weight of a storm without rain. One of the most heartbreaking incidents occurred at an animal facility, where a fire broke out due to electrical failures, killing several animals. Although no human casualties were reported, the grief on the faces of workers and rescuers was evident. Air quality became hazardous. The Clark County Department of Air Quality issued an urgent dust alert, warning seniors, children, and those with respiratory illnesses to stay indoors. The Environmental Protection Agency noted that airborne particles could cause serious lung issues. The desert had crept into Las Vegas itself. Dust infiltrated windows, doors and ventilation systems. People used makeshift masks to breathe. Stores shut down, traffic lights stopped working, and the city's usual rhythm was suspended in limbo. For many, this was their first time experiencing something like this. Some residents said they had never felt such strong winds without rain. Experts explained that dry microbursts are especially dangerous because there are no visible warning signs like dense clouds or thunder. They just happen, and when they do, they hit hard. The nighttime scene was even more surreal. Only the flashing lights of emergency vehicles and the bluish glows of flashlights pierced the complete darkness. Roads were covered with branches, roofing debris, and torn solar panels. In response to the chaos, Clark County and the American Red Cross opened a temporary shelter in the South Hall of the Las Vegas Convention Center. They provided air conditioning, water, food, and space for people who arrived with pets. The community came together in solidarity. Authorities also deployed crews to work through the night. Technicians, firefighters, and city staff cleared roads, removed fallen poles, and assessed structural damage to homes and buildings. As of 6 a.m. Wednesday, more than 3,000 people were still without power. Wednesday began with calmer weather, but the threat had not passed. Weather models warned of additional storms that day, with possible intense gusts and brief but heavy downpours. The atmosphere remained tense. Social media was flooded with striking images. The orange sky over the casinos, tourists running through the streets, snapped utility poles, and roads blanketed in dust. Hashtags like #LasVegasStorm and #NevadaUnderDust quickly trended. The most affected areas included the Southern Valley, Henderson, Eastern Avenue, Sahara, Tropicana, and Flamingo Road. All of them reported collapsed structures, fallen poles, and massive power outages. Experts emphasized that while storms like these are rare, they may become more frequent due to climate change and rising temperatures in the region. Dry microbursts are difficult to predict, and their destructive power was on full display. The emergency response system was put to the test. Local authorities pledged to improve alert systems, reinforce power infrastructure, and develop more efficient evacuation plans for future events of this kind. Meanwhile, residents of Las Vegas began trying to rebuild their lives amid the wreckage. Many still couldn't believe what they had experienced. Some called it a storm without a soul. Others simply referred to it as the day the wind ate the city. What's clear is that Las Vegas went through one of the most chaotic episodes in recent years. A natural disaster that arrived without rain, but with hurricane-like force. A phenomenon that turned the desert into a monster of dust, darkness, and destruction.